Today we're going to look at how Rihanna managed to shift her audience from viewing her as the small island cookie cutter girl from Barbados to arguably the baddest bitch in the entertainment industry. If you look back at Rihanna's music career, you'll notice that she never really had an alter ego phase like many musicians we know and love today, such as Eminem, Beyonce, Nicki Minaj. Instead, she chose to completely change her image and birthed a salacious, confident, bad bee in 2007 with the Good Girl Gone Bad era. But before we delve into the Good Girl Gone Bad era, let me take you guys back to Rihanna's debut, the Music of the Sun era. Her debut album, Music of the Sun, was released in 2005, and during this era, Rihanna stuck to blending in with the current fashion trends and music scene of the 2000s. She'd be seen sporting low-rise jeans, light makeup, her hairstyles were pretty simple, just trying to blend in, like any other teenager would. Now enter the Good Girl Gone Bad era. In 2007, Rihanna drops her third studio album, Good Girl Gone Bad. This album gave us international hits like Umbrella, Don't Stop the Music. So to match this sound, Rihanna had to switch up her image. This was the era when Rihanna embarked on her first world tour. So during this time, her looks were absolutely killing it. Rihanna really took on this bad girl image. She was seen wearing a lot of black, skulls, leather, skin-tight clothing. If you watch back all Rihanna's videos from this tour, her outfits were impeccable. Due to the dramatic change of this rebrand, Rihanna was met with a lot of accusations of being involved in the Illuminati. This era would cement her bad girl image for years to come, and although Rihanna would change up her look with different albums in each era, she would always have that little bit of edge that was birthed in 2007 with the Good Girl Gone Bad era. Rihanna's boldness to make this change would eventually influence many successful female musicians to do the same. Today we're revisiting the rated R era. Just 2 years after dropping Good Girl Gone Bad, Rihanna was introducing fans to a new album. During this era, Rihanna kept up the bad girl image with her fourth studio album, Rated R, which I consider to be quite underrated by mainstream media, but to the Navy is actually one of her best. Rated R was released in November of 2009. This album showed a more edgier side to Rihanna, with it being birthed just shortly after the Chris Brown assault. Rihanna used the traumatic experience and put it into her music. This made it a noticeably darker yet therapeutic project for Rihanna. On top of dealing with that traumatic experience, the media exploited her pain, and that image, we all know that image, spread like wildfire, and it became apparent that Rihanna's story was being told for her. In her own words, Rihanna said the only place that was peaceful for her was the studio. If you listen to it, it's almost like Rihanna is taking you through a journey of self-control and turning her pain into power. I don't know if it's the English student in me, but I find the lyricism in this whole album exceptional. Though this album includes dark themes and deep emotions, it also showcases sexual liberation with the club hit Rude Boy. During this time, Rihanna had a growing provocative image, and she was serving looks back to back. Take a look at this one. This is such a feminine and glam outfit, but her pixie cut just gives it that extra edge that we all love. During this time, Rihanna was a big fan of like studs and black and just an overall gothic vibe to her style. Rihanna stood out as a risk taker in music and fashion because no other pop girlie was doing what she was at this time, and she looked amazing whilst doing it. This album can easily be overshadowed by the Chris Brown incident, and though it didn't do as well as her other albums commercially and in comparison to her whole discography, it was Rihanna rewriting her story, and to me that represents so much more. I've said it before and I'll say it again, the Loud era is Rihanna's best era. Undeniably Rihanna's best era. I will die on that hill. But I want to talk about the cultural impact that the Loud era had on the UK specifically, because growing up in the UK and literally seeing the cultural impact of this woman on this country was insane. This album quickly became a movement rather than an era, and that's what I want to get into today because, guys, the chokehold, we need to revisit and go back and have a bit of nostalgia. Rihanna's fifth studio album, Loud, came out on the 12th of November 2010, and it was filled with consistent dance, pop, R&B tracks, and every song was a hit. Like, no word of a lie, guys. Even if it wasn't a single, it was a hit. During this time, the marketing and promo for Loud was absolutely insane. You wouldn't step out of your house without seeing Rihanna somehow in some form. She was on cups, she was on t-shirts, she was in front of shop windows, she was on magazines, she was doing performances, she was on the radio all the time. You actually couldn't escape her. I specifically remember seeing this top everywhere. It was worn by men and women and everyone. It became such a staple piece in wardrobes. Everyone would wear it to the club. Everyone would wear it to a bar, to run errands. It was just that top specifically everyone loved. I don't know if anyone remembers this, but Rihanna actually had to sue Topshop for selling this t-shirt without her permission and just making so much money off of her face for it. She sued them $5 million. And now Topshop is permanently closed. So go against Rihanna, it's gonna cost ya. Rihanna also went on to perform Only Girl in the World on the X Factor in 2011, and she also did a duet of her iconic song Unfaithful with Matt Cardle. It got a lot of Ofcom complaints and people were saying it was too raunchy and sexual, but it actually did Rihanna a favour because it contributed to her sales massively. Here are some of the outfits that Rihanna wore during this era. Very much 2010s aesthetic. This was for another performance that she did and she looks stunning. And this just looks like the 2010s threw up on her. Like, this is the perfect example of Rihanna's style during this era. But Rihanna also switched it up and she could wear something simplistic and cute like this number, which I really like because the average person can wear this as well. And this one, just super cash and cute, but still very much on trend. I'm definitely going to have to do a part 2 and delve a bit deeper into the cultural impact that she had on the UK. So this is part 2 of Rihanna's influence on British culture with the Loud era. So to sum up the fashion of this time, it was basically a lot of mini skirts, glam tops, big chunky jewelry, bold colours. When I think about it, I would be here all day when I try to think of all the different trends that were happening in the 2010s, but just know there were a lot. With this era, Rihanna gave such a confident, bad bitch, carefree, fun-loving vibe, and I think that was a key component in her success with this era because although she's always been confident and that girl, with Rated R being such a personal and deep project for her, she just wanted to have fun with the Loud era and she completely succeeded in that. It is almost impossible to talk about this era of fashion influence of Rihanna without talking about her hair. Rihanna's red hair was such a big deal in the UK. She had all the girls running to Superdrug and dyeing their hair red. The association with Rihanna and red hair is still so powerful till this day that if I see another girl sporting red hair, I automatically think she's inspired by Rihanna. Like, I don't think, oh, she just wanted red hair that day. No, she wanted to get that specific 2010s Rihanna look. If you want to know which album of Rihanna's is the party album, the album you want to pre to, it's this album, the Loud album, back-to-back hits, and it's perfect for pre's, for any house party. All of the songs age well, so you can listen to them till this day and still have a good time. I remember Cheers being such a big deal over here in the UK. It was on the radio non-stop, and I'm not sure if it's because the UK have an obvious drinking culture, and a very big one at that. So maybe that's what kind of gave people even more love for it, because Rihanna was basically saying, cheers to the weekend, guys. Like, let's get pissed and let's have the best time of our lives. In 2020, the UK official charts reported that Loud was officially the best-selling album of the 2010s by any international female artist. This woman did that. Like, she did that. Loud is certified 7 times platinum. Like, the hold that this woman had on British culture at this time, like, there was no other artist that was doing it like her for us. I'm sure a lot of you who grew up during this era can agree how nostalgic it was for us, and looking back at it, the impact that a young 23-year-old had is absolutely insane and should be studied by modern artists today. As the Loud era was coming to a close, people were curious to find out what Rihanna would be putting out next. Whether it was a new single or a new album, everyone was interested. But what they didn't know was the whole time Rihanna was on the Loud tour, she was making her next album. This would be Rihanna's 6th studio album, and it would be titled Talk That Talk, and it was released on November the 18th, 2011. The album is very pop/R&B, and it has elements of like trap and EDM/house music and dancehall influences. By her 6th studio album, the Rihanna reign was continuing, the Navy was growing, and her popularity was increasing by the day. Her standout songs from this album and like singles were Where Have You Been, We Found Love, and You The One. Fun fact, this album was actually going to be a reissue of Loud, so all the songs were just going to be like an extension of Loud, basically the same thing that she did with Good Girl Gone Bad Reloaded, but then Rihanna decided to scrap that idea and give the songs its own album and its own era. With songs like Birthday Cake and Cockiness, it leads me to believe that this album is probably her most raunchiest, but it's also very diverse. There was a little bit of controversy during this era as Rihanna decided to remix her song Birthday Cake with Chris Brown, so the media weren't too happy with her. She kind of got a lot of criticism for it, and people kind of curious and confused if she was dating him again or if they were just friends. Her style during this era didn't differ too much from the Loud era as they were quite close together, but I will say obviously her hair colour changed, which was a big deal, so that definitely signified a new era, a new chapter. As you can see, it was still very much a 2010s vibe, very trendy, very slightly obnoxious, but still casual and wearable. Actually, her outfits this era did differ a little bit from Loud, as they were a little more muted tones. Like she wore a lot more like darker colours and a lot more denim. I really did enjoy the visuals for this era. I thought they were so cute and unique. But in terms of promo, it wasn't that huge. Like it didn't make a massive impact, especially compared to Loud. But then again, I'm not surprised it wasn't a big deal because she had just finished touring once this album came out, so girlie must have been exhausted. The album did receive generally positive reviews and it was taken up quite well by the mainstream media, but I do wonder if it would have saw more success if she stuck to the initial plan of reissuing Loud. Welcome to the unapologetic era, Rihanna's journey to Auntie. Prior to the release of her 7th studio album, Rihanna was super busy. She was doing tours, fashion collaborations, perfumes, movie premieres, like she was everywhere. Just a year after dropping Talk That Talk, Rihanna released her 7th studio album, Unapologetic, on the 19th of November 2012. Though it's primarily a pop and R&B record, Unapologetic has a similar sound to her previous albums Talk That Talk and Loud, incorporating elements of hip-hop, dance, dubstep, reggae. Unapologetic has the perfect balance between party anthems and emotional ballads. This album puts you in such a good mood, especially songs like Fresh Out the Runway. I feel like that song is the perfect foreshadowing for Rihanna's takeover in the fashion world. Fun fact, this album was recorded during the promo run of Talk That Talk. Prior to the album's release, Rihanna promoted Unapologetic with the 777 tour. The 777 tour was a promotional tour that Rihanna went on, and she basically performed in 7 days in 7 countries doing 7 shows. I just want to know what her sleep schedule was like, because that is insanity. It's moments like this where I remember this is probably why Rihanna is taking her sweet time in releasing her next album. I can barely survive a 9 to 5. Like, I can't imagine doing 7 shows in 7 days in 7 cities. That's crazy. And the promo worked because her lead single, Diamonds, peaked at #1, and Unapologetic debuted at #1 on the US Billboard 200, selling 238,000 copies in its first week. Unapologetic became Rihanna's first #1 album, and it was also her best-selling debut week in her career at that point. So it looks like all of her hard work paid off. Also, Unapologetic won a Grammy for Best Urban Contemporary Album. To promote the album, Rihanna went on her 5th concert tour titled the Diamonds World Tour. Rihanna's style is much sleeker during this era in comparison to previous eras. Even for performances and photo shoots, she kind of just stripped it back. But her 2012 Victoria's Secret fashion show look, stunning. Absolutely stunning. Like, this Vivienne Westwood dress looks beautiful on her, and she sounded amazing. I remember watching it and just being so in awe. The 2013's Grammy dress is forever cemented in my brain. Unapologetic is a confident yet vulnerable album that doesn't get the appreciation that it deserves. Welcome to the long-awaited anti-era, Rihanna's magnum opus. Following on from the Unapologetic era, Rihanna hadn't released any projects, but she had done a couple singles with other artists. But it was on January 24th, 2015 when everything changed. That was the day when Rihanna came out with the song 4-5 Seconds featuring Paul McCartney and Kanye West. After releasing 4-5 Seconds, Rihanna went on to put out 2 more singles known as Bitch Better Have My Money and American Oxygen. Though these never made the album, this was the start of the R8 era. After completing her contract with Def Jam and signing on to Roc Nation, Rihanna was back with a new sound and new label. Her 8th studio album, Anti, was released on the 28th of January 2016. Departing from her dance pop club hits from her previous albums, Anti is an R&B alternative dancehall pop album with influences of hip-hop, synth rock, country and trap sounds. Ahead of the album's release, Rihanna took part in a promo campaign with Samsung titled Anti-Diary, and this campaign entailed over a couple videos that she would release over the course of 9 weeks, I think, and those videos would show Rihanna entering 8 rooms. These rooms had like subliminal messages and clues, which were loosely based on Rihanna's previous albums/eras and personal life. When her lead single, Work, dropped, Rihanna shook up the whole world. Work became the first dancehall song to top the Billboard charts since Rihanna's Rude Boy. Rihanna gave us not 1, but 2 music videos for Work. Selling 32.5 units worldwide, Work is one of the best-selling digital singles of all time. When discussing the album in a previous interview, Rihanna said she wanted the music to feel real and timeless, and that's exactly what Anti is. When I say Anti is Rihanna's magnum opus, I'm not just saying that frivolously. There's a reason why this album is the longest charting album by a black female artist ever. In support of her album, Rihanna went on her 7th concert tour, which was the Anti World Tour. The tour earned a total of $61.4 million worldwide. Stay tuned for part 2. Welcome to the Anti-Era, Rihanna's magnum opus part 2. So we left off discussing Rihanna's highly successful Anti-World Tour, and now we're going to get into the visuals and aesthetics of this whole era. When I tell you guys this era was a cinematic experience, I'm not even kidding. I'm not exaggerating. She gave us everything. The visuals were there, from the anti-promo campaign to the live performances to her music videos to her interviews to her everyday street style. Rihanna was feeding the Navy. Like, everything about this era was so aesthetically pleasing. Like, her hairstyles, her makeup look, everything. And we're going to get into some of my favorite looks from this era. At this point, everybody knew Rihanna as a successful musician and a global fashion icon. Her style during the anti-era really elevated from her previous eras into something more sophisticated, chic, and high fashion. Not that she wasn't high fashion and chic before, but this era, it was like on another level. All of her looks in live performances and on tour were very cohesive and kind of matched the same theme of like gothic chic, if that makes sense. I just love this outfit so much. It's like really well put together and super creative. And then you put Rihanna in that outfit dancing and singing songs from Auntie. It's a masterpiece. When Rihanna did her medley for the Vanguard Award at the VMAs, her outfits that whole night were absolutely show-stopping. It was this one for me. I never recovered. When I watched this performance, I was never the same. Her makeup, the outfit, the lighting, the stage, the dancers. This was a moment. It was also in this era that Rihanna, the creative director of Puma, debuted her first Fenty x Puma line. As you can see, this fashion line was definitely giving anti-aesthetic. It was very gothic chic with lots of wearable pieces for the average person. I'm running out of time, so stay tuned for part 3. Welcome to part 3 of the anti-era Rihanna's magnum opus. So after Rihanna launched her Fenty x Puma line, it was a success. Everyone was obsessed with it. Do you guys remember wearing creepers and wearing those iconic sliders in 2016? Like, they were everywhere. Everyone wanted that shoe, including me. In between this, Rihanna was on tour. I can't fathom my head around that. Like, she was doing a world tour whilst designing fashion lines. Like, I loved every single outfit that Rihanna wore on tour. She had such a clear aesthetic that makes it so memorable till this day. She really is that girl. She really is that girl. Like, this outfit is so simple, but it's so seductive and gorgeous. Like, I don't know. It's just, I love it. Not many people can look great in army green, but Rihanna can look great in army green. This is why people say Rihanna can wear anything and still make it look good. Again, in the same era that she was on tour, that she was doing performances, that she was doing her album rollout, Rihanna released a second Fenty x Puma line, and this one was absolutely show-stopping. Her spring 2017 collection made its debut at Paris Fashion Week, and everyone was obsessed, including me. The collection was inspired by the 18th century French style, and it's absolutely stunning. All of the beautiful shades like blush, pink, purple, mint green, beige, brown. I'm obsessed. When talking about her line and what inspired it, Rihanna said it was as if Marie Antoinette was going to the gym and needed something to wear. Imagine your impact being so big that you make a sports brand high fashion. I couldn't give a heck about Puma before Rihanna. I'm actually repping Puma right now. This is so funny. I couldn't care about Puma before Rihanna. But as soon as Rihanna and Puma came together, I cared. A Rolling Stone journalist actually credited Rihanna alongside Solange and Beyonce as one of the 3 black women who radicalized pop music in 2016. It was clear from the start of this era that Rihanna had put so much work into this album. We saw a self-assured woman taking creative control and taking charge of her own music. Rihanna proved to the world that she wasn't just a singles artist. This album showed everyone that Rihanna is an actual talented musician that deserves the respect. This album made me have a new level of respect and appreciation for Rihanna, and I think it was the same for a lot of people too. I want to know your top 3 favourite songs from the Auntie album. Mine are Consideration, Kiss It Better, and Never Ending.